My next guest, he's a professional mixed martial artist with a record of 13 wins and 4 losses. His next fight will be against Josh Silveira when he takes him on in the PFL tournament semifinals come August 4th, all the way live from San Antonio, Texas. Please welcome onto the show, Ty Flores. How you doing, Ty?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for taking the time, man. So, how have you been, man? Training, working through this in the PFL season, man. How's life been for you as you're getting ready for this huge fight?
It's been pretty good actually. Last camp was kind of shitty, but this is I know a lot of fighters say it, but this is maybe my best camp that I've had so far.
Now, were you a victim of the flipping around with opponents and all that stuff that happened with the PFL the last time around?
Yeah, I went through I think three opponents, so I
Okay.
don't think a lot of the other guys even went through. At least some of the guys that are still in the tournament, I think they just had the same guys, but I had to switch up opponents three times. So
Does that affect
yeah.
your preparation?
I mean, a little bit, like if a guy fights in a different stance, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, or if I wrestle or strike. But ultimately, like I'm kind of just going in there to, you know, do my own thing, and I'm focused on myself. But yeah, I mean, it is a little, you do have to make some adjustments for sure.
For you, like your first fight. I'll start off with it's your first year in PFL fighting. First fight, Dylan Monte. You were an underdog heading into that fight, odds wise. That
Yeah.
kind of motivates you. Is that something that you could care less about? You don't really pay attention to. You just go out there and handle your business.
I don't really care, man. Like the
Okay.
whole MMA betting is just like I don't know. Like, of course, guys are gonna bet on fights. They always bet on fights. They always bet on sports. But like, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. Like that aspect
Yeah.
of fighting is just so like. Is there anything more fucking worthless than the guys that deal with the betting? Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like they have like they're only right like what 50 maybe 60% of the time. A lot of that's pretty easy. You can just choose a big favorite. I don't like get offended by it, but it's like I do like what PFL does when they have that one. I don't know his name. It's whatever dipshits on there that like he like is like the betting guy and like he
Yeah,
talks.
Ian Parker and Coachman.
Yeah, I don't know the fuck he is, but he like it's like he's like on there too. And like if you're watching him, and it's like you know, but it's like every like argument I've ever had with every girlfriend. It's like they don't want to admit they're wrong, and it's like he has to like backtrack and here's why the other guy could still win or this and that. It's like, bro, just shut the fuck up. Like why they let those guys like that close to like you know what I mean? Like the UFC is doing it too. It's
Love it.
like we're not allowed to bet on fights, but everything's like DraftKings and this and that, and it's like God, those guys are fucking annoying. I had a lot of friends in college that were professional poker players, so like I'm like close to the gambling scene, and a lot of them are like they're cool, but it's I don't know. A lot of them are like that like weird type of autistic. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they're just I don't know. They're annoying. I don't like take offense to it, but it's just one of those things where I'm just like whatever.
Yeah. I mean, but you went out there, handled your business, man. Now heading into the second fight, you fought Dan Spawn. Forgive me if I'm chopping that one up, but you're one, right? 2-0 in the PFL season. How's it feel, preparation wise for you? You're fighting so frequently on here. Has that been an adjustment for you, Ty?
Yeah, I mean, so I had two fights like right before I got into the tournament. So this is
Yeah.
my fifth fight in 8 months. So I'm feeling it a little bit, but it's honestly not so bad. I mean, cleaned up the diet a ton. I mean, training's going good. I think the coaches are kind of getting used to the tournament. Like my last camp, I was just like it felt like I couldn't have a week where I trained, you know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
wasn't even like I was doing anything crazy, but like this camp, it's like I think like maybe one time I kind of started to feel it a little bit, but I was
Yeah.
able to power through, and it's like honestly, it's been a great camp. So it's everything's kind of coming together.
What do you think is something important? Because I mean, you're a high level athlete here, fighting at a big stage, big stakes here. What's important? I guess what's the one thing to you if you had to choose something that's important for you to keep yourself mentally locked in to the kind of challenges that this kind of tournament brings?
I mean, it's not even just the tournament; it's like fighting in general. It's we'll
Yeah,
train, let's say 2 or 3 times a day, whatever it is, how much you train. It's like what are you doing outside of those training sessions? You know
yeah,
what I mean? So today I trained for probably 3 hours, give or take some. It's like, what am I doing outside of that? You know what I mean? Am I eating like shit? Am I staying up really late when I know I have to train early in the morning? Am I not recovering properly? You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, it's not like you give it 100%, for every single training session. It's more than that. It's like, what are you doing outside of it? You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
it's been a pretty fucking boring summer for me. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where it's like, I have one day off a week on Sunday, and it's like, I would love to go out hiking more or do more shit, but it's like, I have to rest up for Monday. And, yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty big thing. It's like, what are you doing the other, 23, 22 hours of the day that you're not training? And I think that's going to be the biggest thing for sure. It's
How
a
do you
full-time job.
Yeah, how do you stop yourself? I mean, because I'm sure you look, you probably have a training session or two. I mean, I may be wrong, but you might have like a training session or two where you're like, man, I can keep going, I can keep going, or I want to go get another workout in. I want to go get another workout in. How do you like stop yourself from that?
Because I know less is more. Like
Okay.
before my first PFL fight, Sean Strickland actually came out to train with us, and he was only there for less than a week. But I mean, he's a cool dude, and he was telling me that he only trains like once a day hard. He might train more than one time a day, but like once a day hard. And for me, I mean, dude, there was like before that, my Monday session had like 4 sessions in it, which wasn't terrible because it was Monday. You know what I mean? It was the
Yeah.
start of the week, but it was still like, God damn, that's a crazy start of the week. So I just kind of dialed it back, and then I just saw things get a lot better. You know what I mean? Like I saw things get like in the practices that matter, like sparring, going live and whatnot. I just had more juice to give. You know what I mean? Like I had more in the tank, and it's just better. I think less is more. You know.
Are you is this your first time fighting in San Antonio? Because I know you've fought in Texas before, but is this your first time
Yeah.
in San Antonio?
Yeah. I've never been there.
Oh, never ever been there, San Antonio? Oh,
No.
nice, man. What do you call it? They got some good Mexican food, Bureau tacos here, bro. Once you're done fighting. I'm a
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
Mexican food
Fun
kind of
fight.
guy.
Yeah. I gotta make that weight first.
Yeah, absolutely. Ty, you're fighting Josh Silveira, right? Big name in the PFL. He's 11-1. He's got all these finishes. People talk about the challenge he possesses. For you, what about you do you think is going to provide a challenge for him?
Well, I mean, so he's fought at 85 and 205, and he's not a big 205er. I mean, he's a
Yeah,
skilled guy for sure. I'm a big 205er. I'm
yeah,
not the biggest, but it's like, I'm a bigger guy. I know how to wrestle. You know what I mean? Some of these
yeah,
guys, like I've seen where he fights, I'm like, yeah, like that kid doesn't know how to fucking wrestle. And then on
yeah,
top of that, I've never been subbed. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
he's not gonna sub me. And also, like the big thing is gonna be if he takes me down, I know I can get up. You know
yeah,
what I mean? It's not just I think I can get up or I'll rest. It's like I'm going to get up. I already have great cardio. I'm going down the ski level on top of that. With his striking, it's one of those things where it's like he's pretty. He has a couple things he does pretty well, but it's I don't want to say predictable, but it is a little bit predictable, like what he's going to do. He doesn't throw his hands a ton. So I definitely think I'm more well-rounded. It's one of those things where I've seen like the level of competition that he's faced.
yeah.
Obviously he's a submission guy. Um, a lot of these guys just do the wrong shit, or like I just don't think they can grapple or get up or whatever. And I can definitely do that. My entire team I train with is all big guys, all wrestlers,
Yeah.
and I know how to defend takedowns. I know how to get up. Training with Kurt Slade, training with Devin Clark, I'm training with Ben Hine. Like all of those guys, I want to say all of them were like all America. Or Curtis won a national title. I think Devin did. Ben was Vanilla Thunder. He was a D1 wrestler. So it's like he's not going to do anything I haven't seen before.
In your first fight, I remember with like Dylan Monte, right? I think a lot of people were talking about, the finishes, the big punches, right? I thought to myself, because I'd seen you fight before that. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, if you can just like avoid the big shot or like handle, the onslaught that comes in, I felt like you could like your wrestling was going to be superior there. And that proved to be the case. You're able to like negate that. Is it kind of similar? I don't want to say game plan, but a similar like mindset because Josh has some big hands out there. Of course, people will talk about the finish rate that he's got out there. Is it kind of like hey, I gotta watch out for his strikes? He's gonna come in hot and then weather the storm and then do my thing.
No, I mean, I think it's
No.
more just I feel comfortable doing whatever I want to do. You know what I
Okay.
mean? It's just one of those things where it's like I said, I don't think he's faced like the highest level of competition.
Okay.
I know I had a teammate that's been dying to fight him for years, and that fight never materialized. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So it's just one of those things where it's like He's been kind of on my radar for a while. I got offered to fight him too, but it never came to fruition before we both got to the big show. But yeah, I mean, I know some of the guys he fights. I've seen, and it's like, one of the guys. I think it was even for the title. He was a bare knuckle guy. So I'm like, well, that guy doesn't wrestle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I feel really well rounded. I mean, I feel like probably me and Impa, like out of the four guys that are left, were the most well rounded. I mean, yeah, like I wrestled Monte in my first fight, but it's like I didn't even plan to do that at all. You know what I mean? I also outstruck him. You know what I mean? Like that was
Yeah.
the thing. Like guys, like there was maybe a couple spots in the first round where he hit me with some stuff, like nothing substantial, but it's like I didn't just out wrestle the guy. Like
Yeah.
I outstruck him to Spawn. I don't know. I had a bad weight cut, and I just I did what I had to do to get it done. But it's I think I'm definitely a lot more well rounded than Silveira. Like he's a specialist. He does some other things are striking pretty well, but I think we know what he's going to want to do. So I don't think there's going to be any surprises.
Fair to say this is the biggest fight of your career?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, until the next one, you know what I mean? If the next one will be the finals, but right now it's like, yeah, definitely the biggest fight.
What's your motivation, Ty?
Right now, I mean, I love this lifestyle. You know what I mean? I want to keep doing this, want to keep making money and just living the life that I live. You know, I mean, I don't want to just work in an office. Like
Yeah.
and I have a son and I want to have more kids in the future. And it's like, I want them to be able to look back and like see that their dad, like I could have done something else, but I chose to do something hard and I chose to, the way that I did that. It's not just like fighting's like, like with a painter, it's like there's some kind of artistic expression there. You know what I mean? Like there's the painting tells you something, or a writer, like the words tell you something. And it's like fighting is kind of the same way. It's like, to me, it's not just enough to fight. It's like I don't want to fight like a bitch. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
want to lose. I don't want to I want that to be something that they can look back on and feel proud of.
You're in this journey. You have an opportunity to advance and get to the finals and possibly win $1 million and a world championship. What would winning the world championship and $1 million mean to you, Ty?
It mean a lot, man. Like, I gave up a lot of really good opportunities to keep fighting, and it'd be nice to know that I wasn't crazy. you know,
That's why.
Nothing. I mean, yeah, a little bit.
Awesome. And then as we're wrapping it up here, man, just a couple little speed questions here so people get to know, who you are, Ty. What kind of music do you like, man?
I listen to a little bit of everything, but mostly country.
Country music?
Yeah.
There we go. Favorite food?
Oh, probably Cuban food.
German food, you said?
Cuban food.
Cuban food. Okay. And then your favorite thing, man, to do when you're not kicking ass in the MMA?
I love hunting. I love to
Hunting.
go hunting.
Awesome,
Yeah.
man. Awesome. Ty, anything you want to let the audience know before you sign off here, man?
Just tune in August 4th, and it's going to be a good fight for sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is professional mixed martial artist Ty Flores. Ty, thank you for your time.
Thank you, man.